Jazz is a conversation of instruments. It's taking knowledge of theory and things, and students are creating while performing. So they're making it up on the spot. So my research questions were, can distance learning with a professional jazz musician in an ensemble setting improve student artistic creations through jazz improvisations? And I used a survey based on these things to gauge the students, a pre-survey and a post-survey. I wanted to know what effect this experience had on their motivation, their confidence, because I don't know if you've ever had to improvise, but there's a whole confidence issue here that you have when you stand up in front of someone and you have to be confident in playing your instrument to create music in front of them. So there's a huge issue with confidence in this realm. Knowledge of harmonic and melodic structures, knowledge of rhythmic structures in improvisation, ability to understand improvisation from listening, and I wanted to know if they listen to, or if they perform jazz more, if they actually would listen to it more. So did it increase their frequency in listening to jazz? And their ability to create music through improvisation, was it actually improved? Our expert that we were able to use in this grant project was Mr. Anson Banks at the University of Louisville. He's a jazz trumpet professor there. I knew of his playing, which is incredible, but I had never met him. So I was in touch with him, and he was also a fantastic teacher for the students. He wasn't just a great player, because there's a mix there that sometimes gets lost. Great players and great minds aren't often great teachers. So lesson structure, what we did a 10-class series where Anson Banks on a Mondo pad was Skyped, like this, was Skyped into my jazz band period, and he taught a sequential lesson, series of lessons, 10 lessons on improvisation to the students. Sometimes we try to do one per week, but high school schedules, I know you know this, they flip a lot. We have a pep rally schedule, or we have a this schedule, or a this presentation schedule, and it gets messed up a lot. So it was a little bit difficult to work my schedule out with his university schedule, which didn't change as much as our high school schedule. So we worked it out. We didn't do it over 10 weeks, but we did it over the course of 3 months or something. Those are the dates that we did it. Lessons, materials we used, the Mondo pad, of course. We used some Jamie Aebersold improvisation. The School of Music at the University of Louisville, the jazz program is called the Jamie Aebersold Jazz Program. And Jamie Aebersold is a music company producer, and he put together these books. And anyway, we used his materials. And Anson created some worksheets. We used Zoom rather than Skype. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that platform, but it is a very good platform, and it's very good for this and other things. We used it at the University of Kentucky in some of the graduate EDS courses, educational leadership courses. We used that platform, and it worked really, really well for this. It records every event also, so we can go back and watch all of those. It's really, really cool. So if you're looking for a program to do distance learning, Zoom is a good one to try out. What were our roles in this process? My role as the teacher was pretty much as the techie. Like, I would push play, and I would start the group, and I would get everything ready, and he would come in over this and actually teach, and he planned the series of lessons. So imagine this. All of you, I see some students in here. That's awesome. So if you guys were taught by a professional level person that came into your classroom for 10 weeks and could really teach you, and not only was he in the classroom, but he didn't have to drive 4 hours to get there one way and then one way back. So it was an incredible opportunity. We could have not have done it for that amount of money otherwise without this technology. So some evidence. We use survey questions. Of course, the students, I would love to have the pre and post recording for you to listen to today. I have a post recording, but I don't have it with me today. That's market improvement. Just take my word on that. Market improvement. We'll go through the survey questions here in a second. Okay, so their confidence level from the pre and post survey, 70% of students reported moderate confidence or above in the post survey. It was up 30% from the pre survey in their confidence to perform. Ability to listen to and understand others' improvisations. because how many of you listen to jazz music? Okay, it can be a little bit difficult to listen to. There's lots of notes. There's lots of things going on. If you don't have an understanding of it, you don't often enjoy it. Did you know that if you understand things, of course we know that, we enjoy them more. How frequently they listen to jazz? This was a cool one. There was a 15% increase from sometimes to almost always. So the students started to listen to jazz more because they were learning about jazz. The great gains in almost always, so 9% more listen to jazz almost always when they listen to music, which is pretty cool. Next. Enjoyment in listening to jazz was up 30%. How to practice jazz improvisation. This is another odd thing, right? How do I practice making things up on the spot? That's kind of odd. So you just do it, right? But there's a whole process to it. And one of the things that Anson did within this lessons was he showed them a process of how to practice to improvise, how to practice to become better at that. It was incredible. So 96% of the group now has a moderate to high level of understanding how to practice jazz improvisation, how to do it on their own when they take their instrument home. There was that one holdout in the low. So motivation to improve. Their motivation was increased. Most students, 96%, report moderate to high levels of motivation to improve their ability to perform jazz improvisations, showing a 12% increase from the pre-survey. Ability to compose a melody. 100% of the students, even that one guy that was the holdout earlier, says it has the ability now to improvise. They have the ability, whereas before, it's up 16% from that. All right. Knowledge of harmonic. We'll just flip through a couple. Flip through the next one. Some anecdotal things that they wrote down, some things that really helped them were some of the exercises we used in those class periods. Okay, so here is an overview from my research questions. Motivation improved 12%. Confidence, 30%. Knowledge of harmonic melodic structures, 35%. Knowledge of rhythmic structure and improvisation, up 23%. Up 20% in ability to understand jazz improvisation from listening. Frequency of listening to jazz up 7.4%. And ability to create music through improvisation, check it out, up 47%. It was incredible what this did for my classroom. Here's some pictures of the group, the jazz band with Anson on the Mondo pad. There he is, the big face in the front. And it was pretty cool that Anson can do this from his phone also. So Zoom has an app that's very powerful that, he could see them also. We had a big camera on top. And yeah, he can see them also. And it's kind of cool. He's able to point out to the kids in the group, and when you're improvising, a lot of kids shy away from that. They're like, I don't want to do it. And he's like, you in the back with this on, and she's like, it's like, yeah, you, and he didn't have any knowledge of the students and their dispositions to shyness or dispositions to not having any confidence, but she played for them. She cried a little, but she played for a little bit later. So there was some very good things that came out of this. He didn't know them, so he expected equal from each one of them. Is that me? I'm going off. Oh, man. Okay, I'm done. Well, we got to the end anyway. But these guys, so much improvement. Probably the best thing I've done in my classroom in 13 years for helping these students learn to improvise. Really incredible. So thank you, guys.